Remember the chart with the star, the X, and
nothing?
Non-violent punishments? For, I think, they made...
For like 3 months.
Yeah, maybe less. That's generous.
And then they had so much violence built up inside of me. It just got a lot worse.
But it was also during this time that I broke something like the panel in the TV. My father's response, instead of beating me, was the next day he came home from work with a panel of electronics and gave it to me, and I played with that for years. Conversely, also in the old house, when we would get caught staying up and talking, there are two very, very specific occasions I remember. One, I'm pretty sure I was alone. This is, I think, in the new house after you moved into your own room. I was laying on the bed, reading or listening to the radio, and I was told, be quiet, go to bed. And this is probably a Sunday night when I like to listen to Dr. Demento.
That was the cool thing to do. It was like, he was on from like 10 to midnight.
Yeah.
Dr. Demento on some weird radio station, and we would try and stay up, and it was like such a big achievement to stay up till midnight to listen to the whole show, because they'd have the funny pie with Whimsical Will.
And actually a lot of the blank tapes that used to house our radio shows, our broadcasts,
with Dr. Demento on it,
were taped over with Dr. Demento. Somehow this was of grander importance at the time.
Our radio station was fantastic. WPIX.
George the Monkey.
Had a monkey, had the Fight Channel.
The Fight Channel.
Which we just fought.
And you would hear... and
we would just hit play and record on a cassette recorder. We'd actually play music with another recorder, put one on pause, and then let the other one go to let the other one record. And then we had the swear channel, the swear hour, where we would just swear as much as we could. Which was actually incredibly funny, and I wish we would have kept it. Because, like, when you're, like, 11 and 12, you think swearing's awesome. And you use it all inappropriately and, like, ridiculously.
And I remember we tried
to some bastard music.
Some bastard music.
Like, that doesn't even make sense.
I actually remember that now. And that triggers another memory where we tried to recreate sort of a reunion many, many, many years later, right before you left for college. I think it was that same year. It was very old. And I was a sullen teenager. It was maybe in the middle of high school for you, I think, actually. So it was a little earlier. And it was really bad, actually. It was like any type of reunion years on. It just... It was very forced. But I was caught. And I was obviously scolded. And then upon my father's exit, I resumed my activities. And he turned right around. I heard him coming up the stairs.
I even forgot what you were talking about anymore.
Stomping very quickly. And that, when you hear him stomping loud and quick, you know you're in trouble. You know they are on a mission.
You tell stories like how Stephen King writes. He just trails off in craziness. You even forget what the hell you were even talking about.
And this time he opened the door with masking tape. Beat me a little bit.
How do you open the door with Oh, he had masking tape in his hand?
He appeared at the door with masking tape. In hand.
I got the wrong impression too. I thought he was like,
And I think first he taped my mouth. And then he hit me a little bit. Smacked me.
You're a really bad human being over here right now, Beth.
Sorry, it's not nice. It's just the way he describes it.
is that a robot?
Hi, Lexi.
What is that, Lex?
Is that a robot?
It's awesome, honey.
Good job.
I'm kind of taking the tape off my mouth. I was instructed to fall asleep with the tape on my mouth.
And
I love it.
He did that to us too. To me too, and you would just cry, and it would just peel off.
Exactly.
And you'd get all scared, and you'd be like, oh my god, it's coming off. Because the tears would just solve it.
That's exactly.
Absolutely horrifying.
Parenting technique. I'm using it when I have kids. I'll probably use it now.
Yeah, she's 2 steps away.
And
So,
now, this kind of describes Jill's problem.
well, I was actually going to go into a story about Joe, but first, the other story about us getting caught staying up late is when we were in separate rooms, we would knock on the wall to each other and actually talk through the wall, thinking that only we could hear each other. And it worked for a while, I think.
And meanwhile, where they were watching TV was directly under both of our rooms.
But actually, where it was done is he went into his closet and I was right next to my bed because, you know, the staircase descended, so the walls at one point in the room were actually right next to each other. And we would talk, and sometimes they'd hear us and come upstairs to yell at us, and we would pretend we're in bed. And did anyone else hear that?
Let's just do it again.
Did she fart again? There was this.
This one we both got in trouble because it is usually the 1-2, like the double take. Because first they'd come upstairs, we'd pretend we were asleep, and they would open the door. They would, you know, look around, ask if we were awake for a minute or two, close the door, and then when we heard our sister's door, sleeping alone, when we heard her door open and shut, we knew we were in the clear. And so we were giggling and talking to each other about how we fooled him again. And one time in specific that I remember, our dad turned right back around, only 2 or 3 steps down the stairway, coming back up, and yelled at both of us, just about, "Now I heard you, now go back to sleep." No beating ensued there. But
Oh, whoa. It must have been a holiday.
one time, Joe got in trouble. One of the most genuinely terrifying moments of abuse was when
I'm trying to remember
were
that one
freshmen
time
in
Jill's
Why are we all laughing at this?
This is the way
Because we're fine now.
Yeah, fine's one word for it. Alright, so, terrifying abuse.
Jill, in her freshman year of high school, was always at odds with our mother, and they would always yell and scream at each other. And then one day over the summer, it got out of hand. And keep in mind, I was 14, and I feel horrible about this. We were all in our rooms. He had just come home from whatever job he had, and she was due to go to her own job. And
And we lost.
basically, there was a shouting match, and then our mother wasn't the best physical abuser,
No, she wasn't.
but
She could throw down if she had to. But we weren't really afraid of her that
she
much.
somehow got our sister on the floor and started choking her, and our sister was yelling for us to help her.
She's like, we're like,
I didn't laugh. I was frozen. I didn't know what to do.
I was probably listening to Metallica. If I had to guess.
So that explains, I think that explains a lot of her
She was
animosity.
screaming for your help.
What was I supposed to do? Run in and like clothesline my mother? I watched enough WWF to know what the sneak attack, rushing to someone's aid is like. I don't know why I didn't do anything.
Oh,